Can you tell me how effective are CCTV cameras in this particular issue? Because it has been my experience in the past that when the police refer to CCTV cameras, and I believe there is certain types which the police have to go through a procedure to get access to them because they're run by another, not that. The cameras don't work, or they're switched off for some reason or the other. So how effective and can it be made more effective in this issue?
Let's go to Ms. Hodder first. If you'd like to kill the microphone, Ms. Hodder first, and then Andrew.
Right. Thanks, it's a very good question. I mean, CCTV, there's lots of different types and lots of different owners, and there's various different systems. Generally, CCTV is really useful for us. Everyone knows that the UK has got more CCTV cameras than I think people. It's one of those things that we've got lots of, and from a crime prevention and crime fighting tool, they're very, very good. Now, I think my Andrew's going to come out. I don't want to say Energy Standards. We work very closely with the partnership and the council, who run a lot of the public cameras you see, the ones in Grays, for example, the concierge service run all of those, and we link in, and it's very easy for us to get CCTV. There's no delays or blockers, and if we need it, we can get it pretty much instantly, so that's very good. There's always a frustration for me when you see a CCTV camera and you find out it's not working. Of course, the same is for you, especially if you think it would have caught some evidence.
We're asking the public to get in touch with you, to let you know their concerns. I mean, frankly, you don't have to get into a long chat. A quick phone call to say thank you so much for calling. We really appreciate it. We made use of the information. I know it's a burden, but I just can't stress enough how much I've heard. It matters to all of us, or members of the public, that you've actually noticed. I guess we understand the problems, but the communication is really important.
Slower time stuff. But having said that, if there's a job nearby and they're the nearest officer, the way our systems work, they will get sent to it and we'll go to it. Generally speaking, we get to 92.7% of urban emergencies, which are basically priority 999 calls within 15 minutes, which is our target for that. And rural emergencies, we get to 93.2% within 20 minutes, which is our target for that. So that's about 10% higher than the same time last year, where they were about that in the 80s. So there's some good progress on those. I know if something's happening, even 15 minutes can seem an eternity, and I've been there waiting for someone, and they got there with about 8 minutes, which seems like about half hour. But we do have to be realistic. People have to travel, and we have a target for a reason. It's been set at 15 minutes. So, generally speaking, response times are good, except if something's happening, it's very difficult to hang on, and you always want the police there as soon as they can. So we do try, and I have got people out and about in the right places. Our response team, based at Grays, they will still have officers mobile in the various different areas. So, for example, in Collingham, Stamford, they'll have a car, one in Tilbury, they'll have cars all over the place. We don't just sit in the Grays and wait for a call. It's a case of if we've not got, the officers will be deployed to, we call it a patrol area, but they'll be deployed to one of those. So, we're always trying to improve those numbers, and although it's above the target, which I think is 90%, we're still striving to get as close to 100% as we can, and that's my goal with that. The neighbourhood teams that I've said are split into two areas, Ockham and Tilbury. They cover the whole of the east and the west side of Thurrock, and out of that we have 44 PCSOs who are responsible for, generally speaking, allocated to an area, and as far as I can, I leave them in an area. I mean, most of the council owners and council members I try not to change the PCSOs or move them around, or because I'm aware of the kind of link and the role they have in the community. So, I can't always promise I keep everyone in the same place all the time, but I don't just randomly decide to wake up one morning and move people around. As much as I can, I try and keep some continuity for you.
Confidence that we have that in Thurrock we are getting our fair share in proportion to the rest of Essex.
Thanks for the question. It's actually quite it's quite a complex question, I think. My role is to hold the Chief to account for the operational policing of Essex. How he does that, I regard very much as his business. I've had similar questions from Uttlesford, which of course is about 40 times the geographic size of Thurrock, and with virtually no crime by comparison, and very few police officers. And they say, and the residents say, how do we know we're getting our fair share? It's a complex mix, I think, of crime rates, of harm. It's harm, it's harm to people, I think, which has to probably come top. Even raw crime figures don't necessarily give you that harm equation. And I'm not sure we've got a really sophisticated way yet of looking at it. It's the sort of thing that I'm coming to try and understand. I think it's my role to try and understand that. And through these meetings to gauge your opinions about how well policed you think you are. So it's a mix of population, of crime, of the sort of crime, of the harm that's coming to people. And the south of the county, if we include Thurrock looking across Basel and South End, gets absolutely the lion's share of policing. And so it should, because you've got the weight of the problems. I think you could go right up to the west, up to Epping as well, across those Metropolitan Police borders.
Absolutely disgraceful. So does that mean we can all get drunk, do what we like, and we can just walk away scot-free?
Sorry, I think I was splashing. Obviously, first of all, apologies for that. It sounds that, I need to look into that in detail, as I'm sure you can appreciate. I can't look at the facts and figures and everything who dealt with it. Clearly, the advice is wrong, because that's not defence of that anyway, and we need to look at that positive. So I'm concerned with the slow response, obviously, and concerned with the officer's behaviour. So what I'll do is I've got one of my colleagues here who will take details of that. Can we see at the end of the meeting to get details of how to feed back to you and bits and bobs? Because I don't want to do it in a public forum, but obviously I want to make sure you're given an update and we can discuss that and make sure we learn from whatever's gone wrong with that job.
Well, I did in fact